Well, welcome everybody to our Wednesday night webinar, a special online event that we are doing. My name is Derek Tillotson. I'm calling in from my home in Riverton, Utah. And I'm excited to share today's presentation with somebody that I look up to in every respect. He's been very successful in this business. He is a legend in this industry. And he happens to be my dad and one of my greatest, mentors in life and in sport and in everything else. And so, Dad, thank you so much for being on the call with us today.
All right. Glad to be here.
All right. Now, my dad is hot off of the Team Elite trip in Kauai, so he has all of the most current, up-to-date information, and he has all of the up-to-speed, energy of what is really happening in the business. But let me start off by telling my quick story, and then I'm going to take you through a few points highlighting this company and the growth, and kind of explaining the growth that we are seeing right now in the company and why it might be a good opportunity for you. Like I said, my name is Derek Tillotson. I've actually had the opportunity, the blessing, of being around this company, Nu Skin Enterprises, for a long time. My dad was one of the founding distributors of the company. He took me to my first Nu Skin meeting when I was 7 days old. And I like to joke around that I was in the right place at the right time, but I wasn't in a position to take action, right? And I watched my dad, I watched my grandmother and all of my uncles catch wave after wave with this company, creating total financial freedom for themselves and for our family. And growing up, my biggest fear was that I would be finally old enough to participate in this business, and it would have stopped growing. But I really didn't know what was going to be happening. I really didn't understand Nu Skin's commitment to innovation, and that the baby boomers were going to continue to age and migrate into, these spending habits where they would continue to consume more and more products that Nu Skin sold. So last year was our biggest growth year ever. We grew by $400 million. Okay, the most growth we've ever had in a calendar month. So 2013 will be more than double that. Our public projections are to grow by $900 to $1 billion this year. And our public projections are to be a $5 billion company by 2015. That is $3 billion in growth over the next 30 months. So we're finding ourselves really at the right place at the right time, and now I'm just happy that I'm old enough to take action. So I'm going to take you through a presentation that usually takes me around 30 minutes. I'm going to do it in about 15 minutes. Just speed right through it, move right along so that we can hear from the main event, which is my dad. But like I was saying, I've been around Nu Skin for a long time, and I love how this company will identify a problem, if it's anti-aging, if it's weight management, right? And they'll create a solution for that. And that in turn creates an opportunity for us, the distributors. And one of the biggest problems that we see existing in the marketplace right now is the obesity boom that we're seeing in America. Okay, around 60 million people will start a diet this year, and only 5% will keep the weight off for more than 1 year. If you look at this, map of the United States, we're seeing obesity rates going through the roof. About 60% of people in this country are overweight and 30% being obese. And we know that this trend is headed in the wrong direction. And it's going to impact everyone, even if you are not overweight yourself because of the whole Obamacare thing, right? We're going to be paying for a lot of the problems that go along with this, weight management explosion that we are currently witnessing. Now, on top of that, we're seeing huge growth in anti-aging. We're seeing a big growth in supplemental businesses. All of these problems cater to Nu Skin, and we've been able to develop a solution. And I know that's pretty bold to say that we have a solution for the obesity boom that is happening in America. But let me just kind of explain our partner, Nu Skin Enterprises. This company that actually my mom and 2 of her friends started back in 1984, they made a $5,000 investment in products that they believed in, and they have grown the company now to be in 53 countries. Last year we did $2.17 billion in sales. On top of that, we're publicly traded. And over the past 29 years, we've really proven to be a trustworthy company. In fact, Forbes listed Nu Skin as the 5th most trustworthy company in America in 2010. So this is our partner, Nu Skin Enterprises, and they've made a commitment over the years to innovate, and they continue to produce better and better products. Now, we are probably most known for our anti-aging line of products and health and wellness products. We have things that focus on the outside, right? Focusing on skin care. We don't really do cosmetics. I don't drive a pink Cadillac, okay? But we more focus on skin and overall body health. And we don't have time to really talk about each one of these products, but I guarantee if you were to put even our toothpaste up against all of the other toothpaste out there on the market, it would kill it. We basically dominate in every product category possible because we spend more money on research and development. Past 29 years, we've spent more than $1.5 billion on research and development, creating the products that you see right now. Now, it's all result-based, and we are the difference demonstrated. We invite people to try this stuff. We give our customers a 100% satisfaction guarantee. They can send an empty bottle of product back to Nu Skin and get all of their money back. Okay? That is how confident they are for our customers. Now, these are some of the results that we're seeing with our age-lock products, and I'm going to go into the science behind that. But on top of skincare and anti-aging, we also have a very, very strong line focusing on anti-aging from the inside out. Right? The device in the center of your screen is called the biophotonic scanner. Basically, this device uses light to measure antioxidants in your skin, giving you a score. It was just featured on Dr. Oz, and we've used it as a tool to develop the best vitamin supplement in the world. And again, I would stand LifePak Nano up to any other vitamin supplement, and it would dominate it. This is our current weight management system that's going to be getting a big makeover here in a few months. These are some of the products that we currently have. You know, we sell $2.1 billion of this stuff every year. People love it, and it's really a customer, consumer-based, consumer-driven product. But Nu Skin is not a one-hit wonder. We don't just have one product. We are innovation. And this is our innovation headquarters that's currently under construction in Provo. It will be finished here in a couple months, $100 million project. And for over the past 5 or 6 years, we've been focusing on a new science of epigenetics, which is basically the science of gene expression. Without going into too much detail, I like what Dr. Oz says about this. About 80% of your genetic material is made up not of genes, but of gene switches. Okay, so think of your whole genetic code as a bunch of switches. These switches cause changes in the way a gene works. This is called gene expression. So science, and especially in a company called LifeGen Technologies and our 75 PhD level scientists have created a brand of product called ageLOC. Now, if you've never heard of ageLOC or LifeGen Technologies or epigenetics, it's not the last time that you're going to hear about this. This is an emerging field of science, and we are dominating this field. We have a 30-year head start on the competition in research and development through our acquisition of LifeGen Technologies. But over the past 4 years, we've been building a brand called ageLOC, which focuses on sources of aging happening at the gene expression level. So if you see on the left, we have young gene expression. These are 52 genes in the mitochondria that basically promote energy levels. And we all know as we get older, we lose our energy, right? We begin to slow down. Well, that's happening at the genetic level, young gene expression to old gene expression, right? There's a big difference here. And Dr. Oz was saying, look at these gene switches, and they're all mixed up here, right? As we go from youth to old age, and we feel that. That's why people drink Red Bull and 5-Hour Energy and coffee. They can stimulate themselves into feeling younger. But after 2 months of being on ageLOC Vitality, we can reset 92% of that gene expression. And we don't have time to pull in testimonials right now, but we would get story after story after story of people whose lives have changed because of a $50 investment in their health every single month with ageLOC Vitality. This is just one of our products in this new ageLOC brand that focuses on the sources of aging happening at the genetic level. I mentioned weight management. Okay, this is going to become a bigger and bigger issue over the next few years. But we have a solution for this. We are offering the diet industry a missing piece. All diet programs for the past 30 years have been based off of 2 components. Basically a lifestyle change. They say, well, if you're going to lose weight, you have to exercise, and that will still be important. The second component is the consumable, right? Shakes and everything else. That's where it ends. There's never been a weight management system like ageLOC TR90 is going to be, because it will incorporate the third component, where Nu Skin and LifeGen scientists have actually identified the genes for storing fat. Now, imagine the power in that, okay? Identifying the genes for fat storage. And going back to this is what we're going to be able to do. Think of this as young gene expression in the metabolism, old gene expression in the metabolism. We are going to be able to reset that with this weight management system that will be launched in October, TR90. Okay, and again, we don't have too much time to go into the details here, but it will be available October 15th as long as supplies last. TR90 is a supply chain nightmare because demand is already through the roof. As our distributors and as our team has been going out there telling the story, everybody wants to try this stuff. The demand is going to be so high that it's very hard for the company to ramp up and make enough product. They're trying their hardest. We will have $600 million of product ready to ship on October 15th worldwide. Our U.S. allocation is $40 million. We anticipate that we will sell out in about 5 or 6 hours, and you will not be able to get it for another 6 months. Now, that seems crazy to some people because it's here and then it's gone, right? But this is a strategy, a proven strategy for launching products into a market. Think of the October launch of Gamma as seed product that we're going to be putting out there in the marketplace for people to get an experience and build for the official launch that will be happening later. Okay? So I'm going to skip through these steps. We have a system in place for helping people join the team and be successful. But I want to take a minute and talk about the average annual incomes in these kids. And this is kind of where I'm going to pull my dad on to talk more about leveraged income. These are our average incomes spread over 53 countries. Okay, the reason why we like showing this is these are the averages. This is what people are actually out there doing. To kind of put this into perspective, I'll go ahead and tell my own story. I joined Nu Skin officially as a distributor when I was 18 years old. I became a Lapis executive, which is number 2 while I was a senior in high school. And it was pretty sweet. The average Lapis makes around $1,300 a month, and that made me pretty comfortable there in high school, right? I was like a high school millionaire. And even for my first couple of years of college, I had my top ramen and dating money, and I was pretty comfortable. And then a girl came along, and she messed up the whole thing, right? No, I met the girl of my dreams, and we got engaged. And I don't know about you, but I'm sure most of the people on the line have been in the unfortunate circumstance of needing more money, and that's where I found myself. Okay, in my family, they will support you while you're going to school, but if you're old enough to be married, then you're old enough to fend for yourself. And I didn't know that my sisters had gas cards, basically credit cards paid by my dad for like the first 5 years of marriage. So, Dad, where was my credit card, man? And anyway, so I went into a bit of a panic mode, and I started building my business. I started following a system that has been put in place, and I basically built 6 more teams. It took me from Lapis to Diamond in 5 months. I got my first check for over $10,000 the day after I got married, which was a great wedding present. Went on my honeymoon for 3 weeks. I came back, and Nu Skin had given me a 40% raise. And during our first year of marriage, we went from Diamond to Blue Diamond. And we joined the rank of Blue Diamond about 4 years ago. There's about 1,000 Blue Diamonds in the company, which means, it's not just 1 or 2 of us, but there are a lot. The average Blue Diamond income is more than $500,000 a year. Now, Dad, I wanted you to come on and speak today because growing up, I through osmosis and just by hearing you tell other people, I learned a really valuable lesson. And that is the power of leverage and this type of math, basically, that you're able to tap into using Nu Skin. And so, everybody, I want to introduce to you Craig Tillotson. He is a legend in this business, part of the $40 million circle member. He is the Michael Jordan of network marketing. So, Dad, take it away, and thank you so much for joining us on the call.
Yeah, Derek, good job. One thing you can, if this is a business of duplication, and I've definitely duplicated. I'm not exactly sure how you got so good, but I'm ready to sign up after watching that presentation.
Thank you.
It's unbelievable. When I started, I was in a situation, and I think one of the things that resonated is that people could relate with, the experience that I was going through and the frustration that I was going through in the real world. I call it the real world. And then there's the Nu Skin world. In the real world, I was working on an oil rig so that I could qualify for a loan to buy a home. And my strategy was, after I got my loan and got in my home, I was going to get back into direct sales. But there was kind of two problems with both of these scenarios. When I was working on the oil rig, I found out, after trying to work as many hours as possible, that it is impossible to, really get ahead if you're just exchanging, time and energy for money and trading hours for dollars. Nobody tried harder than me. I used to work extra shifts on the oil rig so that I would get time and a half for overtime. And as I was kept making the calculations, I'm going, man, I don't know how long I can keep this pace up, but I should make a lot of money. And what happened, it just put me in a higher tax bracket. So I was just spinning my wheels and very, very frustrated. And then somebody said, Craig, if you want to get ahead, look at somebody that's doing the same job you're doing, but they've been at it for 5 years longer. And what kind of a lifestyle do they have? Because that's where you're headed. And as I looked at my fellow oil field workers, nobody really had a lifestyle that I was excited about. They were all living basically paycheck to paycheck. And it seemed like I was living, 5 days a week, to pay my bills, and then the weekend for myself. And when Monday rolled around, I'd get anxious because I knew I'd have to start it all over again. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And I was a dreamer. I would see Ferraris and cars and nice homes and cabins. And I would, what would I have to do in order to be able to have that type of a lifestyle? So I said, well, I like direct sales better than exchanging hours for dollars. But the problem with direct sales, I was only one person. And even if I got up and it was all gung-ho, there was a limit to how many people I could call on. So there was a limit to how much I could make. And you could also burn yourself out. So that became a little bit frustrating. Well, then, since we're going into the weight loss business, my mother, who's kind of been my mentor, Clara McDermott, had a pretty successful business, and she had wigs, and she was an innovator, and she developed, a pretty neat system. And so I grew up, and there was always people coming over to her office and, leaving, with a new look, as she would style these wigs and stuff, and she figured out how to recondition them, and she would go to the fairs, and it was kind of exciting to see all this. But my mom had always had issues with her weight, so she would try different products and different weight loss schemes, and she looked in the newspaper or in a magazine and decided to try a new system and ended up losing 50 pounds. Well, once you lose 50 pounds, you become what they call a walking advertisement. And even though she wanted to sell wigs and talk about her wig business, nobody was interested in her wig business after she lost 50 pounds. The only thing they cared about is, how did you lose your weight? And she started trying to explain it to people and how they could order the product, but everybody was impatient. They wanted product immediately. So she started ordering product from the company and just making it available for her customers, but she still wasn't selling any wigs because all she was doing was talking about how she lost her 50 pounds. So then she said, if you want to hear how I lost my 50 pounds, everybody come back Thursday night and I'll tell everybody at one time, because she was talking herself hoarse. So that started the Thursday night meeting, and that was way back in the day. And then the company called her and said, why are you ordering all of this product? And they went to school on her model and signed her up as the first distributor. Well, they came back from their meeting in California, and they said, we think this could be a pretty good opportunity. Would you guys like to get involved? And we didn't, I'd never been involved in, even though I was a salesperson, I'd never been on a weight loss plan. I didn't really need to lose weight. But I decided to sign up because they were excited. And I went out, I took my last $500 from my oil field checks and bought product, and I went out in search of a fat person. And the thing that was really key kind of to my success is that I was willing to take action. A lot of people just worry about what they're going to do, and you'll find that it takes more energy and it's harder to worry about something than it is to just jump in and figure it out, because then you're taking action and it's on-the-job training, and the next thing you know, you start to develop a level of comfort. Well, anyway, I saw somebody walking across the street, and I knew I had to take action because it was my last $500 and I had this product. So I yelled out, "You're fat. We need to talk." And I really felt like I had a story to tell because my mom had lost this weight, and I had confidence that if they got on the product, they would lose weight as well. And they didn't have anything that was going to reset your gene expression. That was just a, kind of a fad diet. But if people followed the program, they would lose weight. Well, what happened is as I started putting people on this product, two things would happen. One, they would come back as a repeat customer, so I started retailing product. And two, they became a walking advertisement. And there's nothing better than a weight loss program to mobilize the grassroots and the non-sales type people. Most people view themselves as non-sales people. When they think of sales, they think of calling on a stranger and trying to get them to buy something that they neither need nor want. And it's hard to, really mobilize people and have people, make lists and, pitch something. But if they went to a good movie that really impressed them, what do? They share it, or a good restaurant, they share it. Well, if they lose weight, they can't help but share it because people are going to ask them what they're doing. And all of a sudden, I found myself kind of, in a wave in that my phone was ringing off the wall. And one of my big challenges, because it was a startup company, was to be able to get product because the company was having a lot of frustration even keeping up with the demand. Well, my goal was to replace my oil field income, but to do it in such a way that I felt like I was making some progress and not just exchanging hours for dollars. So I got a check for $300. Next month I got a check for $600. Next month I got a check for $1,700 and made about $2,000 retailing the product. So I'd almost made my $4,000, and that was what I felt like I could make if I worked around the clock on the oil rig or if I really hustled in my direct sales business. So I was pretty excited. But the following month changed my life because I qualified as a leader in the program. And as a leader, I didn't just get paid on my customers and the people I was personally sponsoring. I got paid on my whole group because I was the leader, and I got a percentage of what was happening in the organization. And because we had a product that moved people, my organization was building. It's kind of not because of anything I was doing. It was kind of just because of being in the right place at the right time with a product that was doing probably 80% of the work. I get a check, and I open it, and it's a check for $26,000. Well, no one could be more shocked than me, because, there's a big gap between $4,000, which is what I could conceive and believe, and this $26,000 check. So I called my wife, and I said, don't answer the phone. The company's obviously made a mistake. They must have paid us for the whole state, and maybe we should take the money and run. And then I called a brother, Scott, who was also doing it, and he goes, Craig, I've got a check for $31,000. And then I was mad. I said, man, I've been robbed. How did Scott make more than me? So it was exciting, and the reason it was exciting is because we were plugging into some different math. Instead of just getting paid on our own efforts, we were getting a small percentage on a lot of people's efforts. And we had a product that did 80% of the work and mobilized and got things moving. The problem we had is it was a startup company. We lived and died with one product. The marketing plan started out okay, but as it matured, it began to unravel. And even though it was an amazing run, I made $1,700,000 in 2.5 years. In the end, it crumbled. And, it was kind of frustrating because after averaging $50,000 a month, I could now conceive and believe making $50,000 a month. And I used to tell people it's just as easy to make $50,000 a month as it is to make $5,000 a month in the real world if you've got, the right math, if you've got a leverage vehicle that has the mechanics of wealth. But I found, from watching all these network marketing companies come and go, that it's very, very difficult to find a vehicle that really has their act together. With Nu Skin, we've got a track record. The company's never been late on a check. Their new skin distributors are making more money than anybody else in the industry. They spend more money on research and development and innovation. We've got the baby boomers, we've got the trends that are just amazing, and Nu Skin has positioned in front of it and pretty much hedged out the competition. You can't really jump in as a startup company and try to do what Nu Skin's doing, and they've got the patents and everything else on their age-lock technology. And because of the track record, when they introduce a new age-lock product, it's not a matter of is it going to work. The only question is who's going to be able to get what piece of that market. So everybody is scrambling to really jump in and figure out how to position to be a part of this, limited time offer with the TR90, which will be the biggest, pretty much short-term, one-time, impact in the history of the industry. I don't think anybody's ever really conceived in, doing $600 or $700 million in a couple of days. When that happens, when you look at our marketing plan and push all of that volume with a marketing plan that pays 5% down 6 levels on leaders and their organizations, it's going to create huge, huge money, which is a lot like pouring gasoline on a fire. It's just going to create excitement. And we used to tell people what you want to do is get ahead of the wave so that you're swimming when the wave hits, and it'll pick you up and carry you. And I used to talk to people, and I would tell people what we were doing, and I said, our opportunity cost is very, very high, and we would like to work with you, but, you have to show by your actions that you're serious. Because the way we create success is by helping you to be successful. But you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So what we're doing is we're sifting and looking for people that are serious, that want to take control of their lives and, duplicate, and then we can duplicate ourselves by working with those gold ships and those serious people. And that's what I've kind of taught Derek to do, and I see he's doing it, but he's doing it a lot more sophisticated with his webcasts and everything else than we did when we first started. If you were to look at it in comparison, it was a joke. But even though we didn't really have the tools and we didn't know what we were doing, we've been pretty successful. And the one thing that's exciting is it's permanent income. Whatever I did years and years ago, I'm still getting paid on that effort. Even though our story probably wasn't as good, for sure it wasn't as good as the story that you guys have an opportunity to tell. Nobody can really tell right now what the impact's going to be of your effort. And I look at it as kind of pushing a ball up a hill. As you push the ball up the hill, if you stop, then the ball rolls back down and you have to start over. But if you can keep your momentum, the synergism of the team, the excitement of the new products that we have and what's going on, and, take the hits, because there's always going to be naysayers and people that are going to say no. We used to say, what about the flight attendant that was asking people if they wanted coffee? And a percentage of people are going to say no thank you. Well, what if the flight attendant went back and just broke down and says, my gosh, so much rejection, how am I going to deal with this? And Nathan used to say, if somebody says no, that's great, because that means you're just that much closer to a yes, if you look at the statistics. So you just keep doing it. You do and if you're pumped up and talking to people that are pumped up, you can keep that momentum. You can be what I call the hot molecule, so people gravitate to you, and you can catch the wave. And we used to tell people we'll see you on all the best beaches, and it happened just like we said it would happen. We've made a ton of money. We've had fun. It's almost like a self-help vehicle masquerading as a business opportunity. You grow at an accelerated rate. You're surrounded by positive people, because if people aren't positive, they wash out. You've got, a company that has a great mission statement. They want to be the biggest by paying their distributors the most money. and they want to be a force for good. So the more you know about this company, the better you like it. There's never been a more exciting time to be involved. And when you look at what's happening and the trends and the timing, you can't help but be excited. So I really believe, if you really want to catch this wave, there's something that is pretty powerful. They said successful people compress more activity into tighter time frames at critical times in their business growth. And if there was ever a period of time to really compress time and energy, now would be the time. And you're going to create permanent income. If you got a pot, you'd probably spend it, and then you'd have to start over, and you'd say, okay, now what am I going to do? With New Skin, it's going to go long term. The track record is there, and the people that catch this wave, they'll probably be writing songs about them. When we were making big money, and we used to tell people, hey, the person that's made the biggest check hasn't even been sponsored into New Skin yet. And that's proven to be true. I mean, I met somebody at the Team Elite trip that actually cut a 7-figure check in a single month. And who knows what the possibility is with being able to create $600 million in 2 days. That's going to create some big checks and a lot of excitement.
Awesome.
That's probably enough babbling, Derek.
Oh, Dad, it wasn't babbling, man. I had myself on mute because I was taking notes, and the only thing I had was a marker, so it was super noisy. So I had to put myself on mute. But super powerful points. I mean, I think that everybody can relate to this equation of, spinning on the wheel, basically making that hours for dollars exchange and never really being, leveraged. I've heard you say it before, that you would drive around looking at the nice houses and the nice cars and say, man, how can I get it? And basically, this business model fell into your lap, and the fact that it was diet, and the power behind the I guess mobilizing the grassroots to go out there and tell their story, and man, just a ton of good notes. So Dad, thank you so much for sharing that story. And
all right,
you're right. New Skin is not on trial. We've been in business now for 29 years. We paid more than $9 billion to our distributors. Last year, we paid more than $900 million in commissions. Every 4 days, we are making a new $1 million earner, right? And we've created over $940 million earners to date. So this is not a business that, hey, guys, it looks great on paper. Let's just try it. Most network marketing companies will see a cycle of about 4 or 5 years. They'll go up, and then they'll come right back down. But because of New Skin's commitment to innovation and this limited time offer strategy, they just keep going up and up and up. So as far as getting started with New Skin, it's simple. You want to basically get started by talking to the person that invited you onto the webinar and looking at some of these business packages. When I joined the company, my sponsor, who was my brother-in-law, he said, Derek, you need product to use, you need product to show people, but most importantly, you need to set the example. And I'm so happy that I did a business builder kit, because that set up my entire duplication model and made me get to executive much quicker, and it's helped other people since. We have a really good promotion right now that's buy 3, get 1 free. So basically, it's a $1,200 investment to come into the business at the highest level, getting like one of everything, right? Because New Skin doesn't just have 1 or 2 products. It gives you enough that you can talk from experience and start changing your life from the product first. So this is what I want to end on really quickly, and this ties in perfectly with what my dad was saying. New Skin is on an innovation track with this ageLOC product. We have an October launch of ageLOC Gamma or TR90, and then another launch in April, and then another launch in October, right? We're going to see in a 6-month cycle products being introduced, creating huge pop. Like this spike in growth is a $600 million spike. Let me put that into perspective, because a lot of times people will associate success in this industry with opening a country. Japan was the biggest market that we ever opened. Okay, it was the best launch that we ever had in any country. In Japan, they did $135 million in their first year of business. Okay, if you were to take all 53 countries that we have launched with New Skin, their first years, and put all that money into a pot, it would not equal the amount of volume that we will do in 1 or 2 days in October. Okay, so when my dad talks about a record-setting pop. He is not lying. I mean, this is going to be huge. But if you can see, yeah, there's going to be some settling after the pop as we build for the next pop, right? Because in October, people are going to start getting on this genetic weight management product. They're going to start losing weight. People are going to be asking, well, how did you do it? How did you do it? They expect the April launch to be twice whatever the October launch is. So this is going to be crazy growth happening right now. Okay, there's 3 different types of people listening to us right now. There's consumers basically going to use the product. There are latecomers, the kind of skeptical people that are going to start using the product and kind of look at the business, right? Should I do it? Should I wait? Should I see how this first cycle goes? But like my dad was saying, our opportunity costs are very, very high right now. And we are looking for the visionary people, the people that get it and go, wow, here is a vehicle that will enable me to create freedom in my life. That's how I look at this. I watched my dad, I watched my grandma, I watched everybody in my family basically create legendary incomes with this vehicle. And the next 18 months is my wave. This is my opportunity to go out there and do that. That I can create the same lifestyle so that my son can have the same experiences that I enjoyed growing up. And so, Dad, thank you so much for starting this company and for having the guts to pioneer this thing and work out all of the things. Thanks for making the compensation plan. Thanks for asking for the 5%, down 6 levels. It definitely helps us make those checks. And like my dad is saying, Nu Skin is paying 7-figure checks right now. I'm not saying that everybody on the phone is going to get that, because you probably won't. Okay, but the highest paid Nu Skin distributor has yet to be sponsored. But more likely than not, they will be sponsored in the next 6 months. Okay, as we position for the launch of Gamma and the rest of this ageLOC rollout. So guys, get back to the person that invited you on this call. Tell them if you are a visionary so we can start working with you right now. There are only a couple of days left in this month, and you want to start June, you want to start the summer as a qualifying executive. To even participate in the launch of Gamma, you need to be at the executive level. Okay, it's a qualification thing. So you need to get positioned immediately. So get yourself into qualification as soon as possible. Dad, thank you again for joining us on this call. And everybody,